Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach and today I am driving a 1966 Buick Special. Up front is a 6.6 liter V8 and down below is a 2-speed automatic transmission. Now I am super excited to be driving this Buick Special because I don't really drive many cars from this era, and this is such a cool color combo. There's a lot done to this car as well, and I'm excited to share that with you guys today. But before we get on to anything else, I have a website, zackpraedel.com, where you can find stickers like this retro sticker pack I have available. You can also submit your own vehicle to be reviewed by me through a quick and easy submission form, and you could read my behind the scenes blog to see what I'm filming before it comes out on the channel. But let's get back to that engine under the hood. Well, this is actually a 406. This is not the original engine. Originally, it comes with a 4.9 liter V8 that of course has been swapped out with most cars from this era. It's a whole Frankenstein of an engine, making probably around 500-ish horsepower, which is quite terrifying. The roads are wet today, so I'm not going to be testing my luck. But the interesting thing is that it actually comes with a 2-speed automatic. Now from the factory, it came with a Buick 2-speed, but this has been switched out with a Chevy Powerglide 2-speed, which is really interesting. This whole video is going to be done in first gear. You don't really need second gear until the highway. So actually driving this car, it's very boaty. It's not like a tight sports car. However, that's how cars were in the 60s, and it's very pleasant for cruising. Driving at about 3,000 RPM is where this car is happiest. And on a nice, well, it's now becoming a nice day like today, this is the car I want to be in. It's nice, it gets the looks, and it looks fantastic. We'll talk about that towards the end of the video. Whew. Just putting my big toe into it. You just feel the power, and I love that about this car. Last but not least, of course, it is rear-wheel drive. With that out of the way, let's talk about the interior, probably my favorite part of this car, because it's just so period correct. I love it. Well, in front of me, I have a very horizontal speedometer. Very typical for the 60s, and I love the look. And of course, we do have some warning lights off to the left for oil, temperature, and the generator. However, this does have an alternator swapped onto it. I have some pull knobs for my lights and wipers, and I do have a lighter, easy at hand, of course, because this is the 1960s in America. You gotta be able to light your cigarette at a moment's notice. And I do have what would be for the 2-speed automatic on the column. However, of course, it's been removed for the 2-speed Chevy Powerglide. The steering wheel itself is awesome. It's a wood steering wheel with the nice bright Buick logo in the center. I absolutely love it. So period correct and looks fantastic. Now, some of my younger viewers might be interested to learn that the brights, your brighter headlights, actually used to be on the floor. You would actually hit it with a floor mounted button as opposed to on the turn signal stalks like in modern cars. Moving on to the door, I do get smoker's windows, which are really nice, especially on a day like today. I have the crank for the window as well as my mirror adjustments. Moving into the center, I do have very prehistoric climate controls, basically for vent and defrost, but that's it. No sort of AC. There are some vents that you can open to let fresh air in, but of course no traditional air conditioning. This is also the stock radio, which is really cool to see in a 60s car, and it still does kind of work, which is very nice. I do have a little pull-down ashtray, and then I don't get any center console. Of course, the 1966 Buick Special does not have cup holders, so it fails the big friggin' bottle test. This is a bench seat, which I absolutely love. Again, very typical of the 1960s, a nice bench seat. Normally the shifter wouldn't be there, but of course this has the Powerglide swapped into it. However, speaking of the seats and just really the interior in general, it's this awesome teal color. I love the overall interior in here. Great visibility, obviously, because there's, well, not a whole lot of crash protection, but it's super comfortable. And like I said at the top of the video, this is a perfect car for cruising on a Sunday, which happens to be what we're doing here today. Speaking of seats, we do have back seats, so we'll hop in the back and do a back seat review. All right, so we're in the back of the Buick Special, and What I love is that you don't have any headrest obstructing your view back here. This is a very cruising road trip open feel. I do have lap belts. I forgot to mention that with the front seats. I do have lap belts, but there are no shoulder belts. Those weren't required at the time of this car in the 1960s. I do have crank windows. I have an ashtray on both doors, thank God, because it's 1960s America. The seats are cushy. I have plenty of knee room. Headroom is great. I'm sure plenty of people in the comment section watching this video have great memories of taking a road trip back here or anything like that. I know my own family had an early 70s Buick station wagon growing up, so that's just so cool to be back here. And a lot of America was seen through the windows of cars like this in the mid to late 1960s. With all that being said, let's take a look at the trunk, because there's a fun little surprise back there, and then we'll talk about the looks. All right, so around the back of the Buick Special, we do have two different keys. This was still the era where you get two different keys, one for the ignition, one for the trunk and doors. And you get this giant, awesome American trunk. I think a family of 5 could sleep back here, but this was the little surprise I was talking about. It has a fuel cell. Obviously, this is not a factory fuel cell, but something cool and sort of a hidden hot rod feature of this particular car. But like I said, you could fit an entire country in here, which is just fantastic. Now we gotta talk about the looks. This car is finished in turquoise mist, which is now one of my favorite colors to come out of GM ever. I love the look of this car, plus with the stock hubcaps on it, I think overall it's a really good period correct piece of automotive history. Something else about this car is that it is a sedan. Now, most of them were coupes in this era, but this is actually a sedan, which very much reminds me of the Belvedere I drove last year, which I don't know why. I just love sedans. I love the utilitarian purpose of sedans. You could put people in the back and they don't have to crawl around a seat or do any gymnastics just to sit in the back, which is fantastic. Overall, I can't get over the look of this car. Of all of the cars I reviewed, this is a top contender for me making a poster out of, because it just looks so good. The lines are straight, it's nice and clean. I really, really love the look of this car. I could stare at it forever and ever. But now let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving the Buick Special from 1966? Well, this car is kind of an interesting experience. It was actually purchased off of an old lady. She just drove this to church or bingo or whatever the old folks are into these days. And it was just a normal sedan. That's what it was meant to be. The Buick Special was actually kind of not that special. It was just a car. However, this one with the bigger engine, the 2-speed, now it's something different. And I think this car really encompasses the true idea of a hot rod, where you take a smaller car. This was not the biggest car that Buick made. This was a mid-size, if you can believe that. You put a big engine in it and you just go for it and make all of the power in the world. That's what this car now does. You saw the fuel cell in the trunk. This doesn't come to play around. But then again, I'm cruising and enjoying myself. It has that nice and cushy suspension, kind of floats, kind of walks. Oh God, I'm not man enough. If you've ever seen Wayne's World, we're not worthy. We're not worthy. This is a true hot rod, and I love the fact that the owner, Tyler, has kept it stock looking. He kept the stock tires, which, you know, for better or for worse, they're not stock, but they're not big. It's just the best of both worlds, because on a drag strip, this thing will perform, but you can also drive it to church. And that to me is the sign of a very good car. I love this era. I hope to film more cars from this era, and this is just, it's one of the best. It really, truly is one of the best. Huge thank you to Tyler for letting me take out this car. All of his information will be down in the description below. He also has a YouTube channel, Instagram, all of that stuff. Please go check it out. He's always driving some really cool classic cars. He also has a 300ZX for those of you, I know you are into those. Please go check him out. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.